We all fear the dreadful day that we have to stop taking any form of androgen for whatever specific reason. Could that be surgery, health complications, heart failure, kidney failure, liver failure? I don't really know. It's kind of up to you and how you treat your body, but inevitably, there's going to be a day where we will have to remove anogenic steroids from our body. And on that day, I think we all dread what might happen to the physiques we spent years building. You might be thinking to yourself right now, well, brother, I'm never coming off. It's life on steroids for me, homie. We're good. And to you, I would say, wow, what a short-term way of looking at life. Let's be honest. There's going to be a lot of different reasons that one person might need to get off compared to another. And you could have a family. You could have a certain job. You could have to go overseas. We could enter World War, whatever at that point, whenever you're watching this video in the future. I don't know. It could be a serious topic to discuss for yourself in the future. I myself am constantly debating this and what that might look like. And if you don't have your World War, pandemic, whatever stash of testosterone, you're messing up. Invest in that ASAP, my folks. But why am I bringing this up and why is it relevant for you? Well, today we're going to be talking about an individual called Arthur Pontes. He posted a very infamous video that I'm sure many of you have seen. The video where he goes from his 2023 look to the 2024 look, which was melted, nuke, and disastrified. Nothing that we would want to happen to our own physique. And let's be honest, the 2023 version, he's a Greek god. The guy looks amazing. He has a physique that I think arguably all of us would want. And oddly enough, his face to body ratio is awesome. Like, the dude is very attractive. Like, the body somehow matches the face, and then he goes from that to this, and now the face doesn't match the body. I don't really know what's going on there. Kind of interesting. I'm sorry for the dude. But what happened to him? And will this happen to you? Well, this is a rough Instagram translation, so please forgive me if there's mistakes in this. I don't concurrently speak his language. Basically, what he's saying is at the beginning of the year, he had to take a break of the dream, the pursuit of the dream, but they weren't my plans. This is a rough translation. They were God's plans. He had a surgery to connect 4 hernias in the belly button, and thank God everything went well. And as soon as I was released and returned to competing, doing what I loved most. Today, I'm here to announce that the Bridges will be back as soon as possible, fighting and chasing his dream. Today, no sponsor and no partner, but with the most important, with God. I will start my journey and get where God promised me I would go. I'm not here wanting you to go hurt from me. Just, okay, I'm done. You get the point. The dude had hernia surgery and likely was restricted in a lot of different capacities. One of those capacities being taking a bunch of androgens. And you have crazy questions like, what happened to bro? Everyone says he came off cycle. Then people are saying never use steroids. Ever, ever, never. On versus off. The power of steroids. You stop taking creatine. that's pretty accurate. That's why you should build the physique naturally. You will be better even if you go to the gym or not. That are not, but I think he meant or not. Look, the point is the dude melted his muscle tissue. I mean, it literally got obliterated. But what happened, and will this happen to you, is the question we're here to answer. Well, I'm going to use my physique as another example for you here today and show you what it looks like when I came off the cycle, kind of unintentionally, and just, to be honest, me being lazy, in complete honesty. Now, this was my physique when I had just started a cycle. This is literally after not taking anything for about 8 weeks, to be completely honest. I got really lazy with my injections. I was focused entirely on business and I just didn't give a shit. I talk about this a lot on Instagram and a lot of people hate me for it, but I'm not the biggest bodybuilder. I'm not the biggest bodybuilding influencer, nor am I the biggest bodybuilding educator. The reason is I don't really give a shit. I don't want to be. I'm just simply trying to teach people and start a business and let other people thrive, because I coach athletes that have more genetic potential than I would ever have in my wildest of dreams on 3 grams of gear and 12 IUs of growth hormone. I'll never be what they are, even on 300 milligrams of testosterone. For me, I might as well put my time into those individuals as opposed to me. Anyways, tangent done. This is me just having started a cycle after being off for about 8 weeks on literally 0 androgens, maybe 1 injection of 125 milligrams of testosterone. This is king right here, guys. This is really important to understand. During this time, I didn't stop training. I didn't stop eating the way I was, and I certainly didn't stop trying to live the lifestyle that I've always lived because of bodybuilding in the first place. I just simply wasn't injecting hormones like I normally do. And sure, as a result, compared to these pictures where I'm clearly on cycle, I am not as grainy, I'm not as hard, I'm not nearly as representative of a good physique as I once was. I'm still pretty much within striking distance of this conditioning and of this kind of physique and fullness and everything else that is included with this kind of physique and fullness. And I'm bringing this up not to just promote my Instagram, even though you should follow me, but I'm bringing this up as a way of showing you that you can come off a cycle, intentionally or not, without losing or having a massive detriment to your overall gains. I think there's a lot of misinterpretation here because honestly, people just don't appreciate people who take steroids because of some sort of taboo that was generated in their mind as a sort of coefficient of them being inefficient or something of that nature, and they feel insecure, so they must address that anger with the social media complex. Who knows what they're exactly doing. The reality of the situation is, folks, you can still maintain pretty much all of your muscle off of cycle. While I would argue you shouldn't come off of cycle no matter what's happening, if you're getting surgery or if you're not doing anything in particular, you just are sitting there not doing what you should, so there's no reason to be on a copious amount of androgens, you could still stay on a TRT dose and really maintain a lot of your muscle tissue. Now, with this individual, the case is a bit different, and this is really, really important to listen up to. When you go through a hernia surgery, especially one that he went through, which is very, very intensive, this individual just didn't have a small hernia surgery. From what he is saying, he corrected 4 hernias at once. That's a massive, massive surgery where you're opening up that abdominal wall, literally tearing apart the muscles and stitching them back together in hopes that you're reconstructing everything correctly. You're putting mesh and synthetic materials inside of the abdominal wall to try to hold it all together. You are out of training and eating a lot of food and having to have a distended stomach for a very, very long time. You virtually have no abdominal control for at least a year, maybe more. And with Arthur, it was very likely that even though he's a very successful men's physique athlete, he wasn't able to train. He wasn't able to eat as frequently as he does. And let's be very real, folks. When you're not able to do the things that you do every day and you love to do, very easy to get depressed. He was likely getting pretty depressed, and that can turn into a negative spiral where depression meets inefficiency and unwillingness to do things, and then that even further cycles down into more depression and then more unwillingness to do things and then more depression, and suddenly you enter this situation where he probably could have ate better during his post-op. He probably could have done some activity during his post-op to maintain body composition. He just didn't, because ultimately he felt pretty depressed, and it is a defeating feeling when you go back into the gym after a post-op situation and you have to be extremely careful, near geriatric levels of carefulness. This is something Big Paul would know all about, not necessarily me, but Big Paul, that guy's a geriatric, let's be real. So the big homie didn't just literally lose his muscle tissue because he stopped steroids. In fact, I would argue that homie could have stayed on steroids and still looked like this. It's just a matter of the fact he wasn't training for almost an entire year, wasn't eating the food for almost an entire year. But if you come off of androgens, yes, you're going to have a slight delay of the resumption or your natural testosterone being produced. But it's not going to be so much of a delay that is going to cause you to just melt muscle tissue off of your physique. What happens 99.99999% of times is a bodybuilder gets off of some form of androgens and then they just stop trying as hard. They stop training as hard, they stop eating right, they stop doing everything, because why would they? They can't make progress, they can't progress, they don't feel like it's worth it. While this isn't true in any statement, it's still what they think in their heads. Again, bodybuilding, as I've said in the past many videos, is highly emotional. And while bodybuilders seem to be these robotic individuals, they're actually children at heart. Let's be very real. They're hurt children, and their feelings are very, very fragile. And even though you may have a shutdown HPT access and your testosterone endogenously isn't going to be produced, the Harlem study is a great review of what happens when you just stop cold turkey. And that study was very clear on the fact that effects are generally reversible in terms of hypogonadism and acute life-threatening toxicity. It's virtually a complete reversal after 6 months, whether you're taking a PCT or not, meaning The people in the studies, there's 100 people who are using androgens. They either had half of them take a post-cycle therapy, which consisted of, I believe, human chorionic gonadotropin and a Clomid administration, and then half of them take nothing, just stop cold turkey. And what they found was both groups recovered at about the same rate, experienced the same effects during their post-cycle experience, and after 6 months, everything was pretty much good to go with or without any kind of pharmacology assisting them. And yes, I get it, 6 months is a long time to be off of gear or be in a hypogonadal state. The point is I imagine that if you put those individuals in a situation where they were eating exactly as they should, as a human being should, high protein, frequent meal consumptions, weight training on a daily basis, getting appropriate sunlight, doing the things that a healthy human being should do, their testosterone would have little to do with their correlation to muscle mass. Would they obviously decrease muscle mass? Sure, yes, of course, but they're not going to lose so much volume as to turn into a fat man-bod version of who they once were. And then muscle memory is a whole nother thing, because you can see on this guy's profile that right now he's posting stories of him getting back in shape near where he was when he showed the before pictures in 2023. He's back to eating right, he's back to doing the whole bodybuilder thing, tracking his meals and getting shit done. And guess what? It's working. So even though you might momentarily lose muscle tissue, you're not going to lose it forever. It'll be back right around the corner before you even know it. You hop on a low dose of testosterone and you'll see a resumption of most of your gains. But the big thing that happens to most people when they come off a cycle, hands down, is they just get lazy as shit. They just think that progress isn't going to happen, so it's not worth training anymore. It's not worth eating the diet anymore. It's not worth going through the sacrifice because I'm not going to make any progress, or at least that's what they think. And the actuality is, you guys, the actuality is that you absolutely will make progress, an exceptional amount of it. If you just keep working hard and keep doing what you need to do on a daily basis, you will make progress indefinitely. Or maintain it at the very least, which is what we could only ask for. But if the time does come where World War whatever is around the corner and the pandemic of tomorrow's day is hitting us, you better have your stack of testosterone in the back because you don't want to run out. I'm not saying it's a good idea to stop cold turkey. I'm just telling you that don't be afraid of coming off of androgens. And this isn't representative of what would necessarily happen in most people's cases. Are you going to lose muscle? Yes. Are you going to be able to gain it back right away? Yes. Is it going to be so much muscle that you look like you have a dad bod and you've gained 20 pounds of fat and lost 80 pounds of muscle? No, that won't happen. You'll be fine. Trust me. Or don't. That's up to you, I guess. Allegedly, it's up to you. I don't know. Like this video, send it to your friend who just came off cycle and is weak as right now and make me feel bad. And if you could, while you're down there sharing this video, subscribe to the channel because it's helping me massively get pushed into the algorithm, and the greater that I grow, the more I'm able to give back to you guys, which I promise is coming very soon. As of right now, me posting this video, our Discord is still down. We're working on a solution with Discord right now. I've hired a team, like a whole team, literally, this is how serious I am about this shit, a whole team to help manufacture a Discord group that is solid in its security and that this would never happen again. It's working. It's in the works, okay? Let me cook. I promise I'm going to make something for you guys that is absolutely worth it. Just let me cook. I'll see you in the next video.